Before we start today's video, I want you to look at this very intriguing illustration which was published in the Hindu a few years back. This illustration shows a man who is a BTech degree holder, a PhD holder, and is applying for the vacancy of a PN in a government job, with the dream of getting job security throughout his career. Not to disregard any job out there, but you usually get higher degrees in order to achieve higher coveted positions in various sectors. So this is the scenario of today's youth. This is not a situation in one particular state or a few particular states within the country. It is a nationwide phenomenon. Look at these headlines published in various newspapers. The craze for government jobs among the youth is very real and it is increasing every year. On this video, we will be talking about why this hype about government jobs. We will talk about the perks that a government job offers, and we will also be discussing whether these perks or the hype that is created across government jobs really worth it. This calls for an introduction about myself. I'm Ayushi. I am an Indian Economic Service Officer and have worked with the government of India with various state governments for the last 8 years. I have worked in various public policy roles, and just to give you a quick background about my experience so far, I did my bachelor's in economics from Shriram College of Commerce, and just after completing my bachelor's and starting my master's, I joined the Planning Commission as an intern, did an internship for 2 months but got it extended for around 9 months, and then I worked with the government of Andhra Pradesh as a consultant, and later on I worked with the Ministry of Finance as a Group A officer with the Indian Economic Service. This has been my journey so far, and hence, with my experience of working with the government in various capacities across different departments, I have been able to gather insights into how government administration really works, what is the true picture inside these high illustrious buildings, and this is what I'm going to talk about in today's video. Now, when I talk about government jobs, there are plenty of them. Government jobs can be across academic institutions, it can be in state government, central government, military, even PSUs to a certain extent can be counted as government jobs, and there are innumerable other jobs. You can join different posts such as a teacher, as a military personnel, as a banker, as an officer, and even within these there are different ranks. You can join as a Group A officer, or you can join as a Group B, C, D, and so on officers. So this means that there are plenty of government jobs. But for the context of this video, I'm going to keep it short and crisp and talk about only the top Group A jobs which are out there, especially in the central government as well as the state governments. For instance, let's take the civil service examination conducted by UPSC every year. Do you know that 11 lakh people apply for the UPSC civil service examination every year? This is the data out there. Now, those who apply doesn't mean that they all qualify. Of course, they cannot. But how many do actually qualify, and how many vacancies are there? Every year, there are less than 1,000 vacancies, and around 800 to 1,000 people qualify the exam every single year. This makes the pass percentage less than 0.1%. And clearly, the civil service examination is one of the toughest exams out there across the world. Now, without going into the merits and demerits of the civil service examination itself, let's talk about what makes it so tough and why are people so crazy about getting into this service. What are the different services that are offered, what are the different perks associated, and whether it is actually worth the hype. So part A of this video is going to be about why this craze about government jobs, what are the perks and benefits that are associated with a government job. I've already made a video listing out various benefits that a government job might offer to you. Do go and watch it. It will give you good insights into the true reality of a government job. Now, I'm not going to deny the fact that a government job does offer a lot of advantages which are not even comparable to the private sector, and I'm going to list out all of these point-wise to you right now. The first point is regarding the salary. Now, if you're someone who's a fresher, who's fresh out of college and clears a government job, the starting level salary that a government job would offer would be much higher compared to what your peers or your counterparts might be getting in the private sector. For example, if you join the civil service examination right off the bat, you will be getting around 50,000 rupees in hand just as soon as you join the government job. This is of course talking only about the Group A jobs. It can be either Indian Administrative Service, Police Service, Audit and Account Service, Economic Service, and so on and so forth. There are so many services out there. Now 50,000 as a fresher in hand is much more compared to what you would be getting if you join a starting level entry position in any private sector job. Also, getting the salary is very certain. You would be getting the salary in your bank accounts irrespective of how the economy or the government is functioning. So this makes it an amazing lucrative offer. The second point relates to other perks that a government job might offer. For example, accommodation. To be very clear, not all Group A officers get accommodation. It is only when you're posted in a district as an IS officer, as an IPS officer, or as any other officer. But when you're posted in a district or in the state government, that you have higher chances of getting accommodation. If not, you are compensated with a house rent allowance, which is given to mostly all the central government employees and the state government employees. Besides this, there are health benefits. For example, as a central government employee, I am enrolled in the CGHS, the Central Government Health Scheme, wherein I can go to any of the empaneled private hospitals and get treated for any issues that I may be facing. Of course, I have to pay a monthly amount for this, which is deducted from my salary. However, compared to what the private sector may offer, these health benefits are also very lucrative. Pensions are no more there, especially for those who joined the central government after 2004. We are definitely covered under the National Pension Scheme, and I can talk about the National Pension Scheme more in detail. Do comment below if you want me to do that. So please get a clear picture of what you're getting into before you start applying for a government job. Now the second point, which everybody would keep talking about, is job permanency. Now if you talk to anyone of your parents' age or your grandparents' age, they will tell you that sarkari naukari mein job permanency hai. I would not deny the fact that this is quite true, especially when compared to the private sector, where layoffs are very, very common. If the economy is doing bad, if the company is doing bad, layoffs happen, and it has been happening since time immemorial. If you look at the present scenario also, majority of the layoffs are happening in the private sector, especially in tech companies. Having said that, let me give you a true picture here. There are a lot of appraisals and 360-degree reviews which have been introduced in the government sector, especially in the central government, which would assess you very frequently. And in case of any doubt of integrity or slackness on your part, you can be given a warning and also laid off from the government sector. The third and a major factor which makes the craze about government jobs very, very high in a country like India is the societal reputation and the prestige that is associated with a government job. Now, historically, government jobs have been treated in a very, very prestigious manner. It could be because of the difficulty in cracking exams. It could be because of the job permanency. It could be because you know that you'll be getting your salary in time. It could also be because as a young officer, you are entrusted with a lot of responsibilities. During my first position with the Ministry of Finance, I had a team of 7 under me, and I was only 25 years old at that time. This is not comparable to the private sector. In a private sector job at such a young age, you might not have such a large team to lead. And this brings me to the fourth point, that is the work exposure that you get while working in a government job. The amount of exposure and the diverse experiences that you will be getting is immense. You would be working across sectors: health, education, taxation, environment, and so on and so forth. And these all are extremely important in a developing country like India. You would also be working with brilliant minds across the globe. For example, in my stint with the Ministry of Finance, I have worked with people across nations such as China, Canada, Brazil, USA, and so on and so forth. I've also worked with leading global institutions such as the World Bank, the IMF, and the amount of experience I have gained through these projects cannot be compared from what I would have gained in the private sector. And hence, working in a government job at a young age can give you a steep learning curve which can benefit you later on in your life throughout your career. The fifth point is related to how open the government jobs are. Anybody from any educational background and holding any educational degree can appear for the civil service examination. And I would consider this as a major advantage of a government job just because of the fact that given our educational background and given the kind of situation that most of the youth would emerge from, they would not know what exactly they want to do with their life at a very young age. This means that you study a lot of subjects, you clear the CSE, and then you get diverse experience, which gives you a lot of exposure across different fields. And then once you have decided what exactly you want to do in your life, you can get a specialist degree later on in your career. For example, the Secretary of the Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation worked with the Government of India as an IAS officer, got exposure in different fields, specialized in the fields of water and sanitation, and then went to work with the World Bank, got his expertise in the field and came back to serve with the Government of India again. Now part B, or the final part of this video, is going to be about whether all this hype about government jobs is worth it or not. Let's discuss it point-wise. The salaries are very good at starting level. However, as you progress within your career with the government, the salaries may not be comparable to that of the private sector. As a secretary, that is at almost your age of retirement at 60 years, you would be earning somewhere around 2.5 lakhs per month. This is not comparable to what you would be earning in the private sector if you continue to work in the same sector till 60 years of age. This can be a major drawback for people who are looking to work and gain financial independence. So do consider this point in mind. The second point relates to motivation regarding personal growth. Now, I have experienced this myself. After working with the Ministry of Finance for 2.5 years, I started to experience a certain kind of stagnation in my own personal growth. This meant that I had to look for change, and hence I had to get that incentive and self-motivation to look for opportunities outside my immediate work settings. I started approaching my previous bosses with whom I had worked earlier in the government of Andhra Pradesh and even in the central government, who were now working on different projects. For example, I approached the ex-secretary of my department who was serving as a member of the Finance Commission, and while completing my work and responsibilities within the Ministry of Finance, I also started working on a project with my ex-secretary in the Finance Commission. Hence, the motivation to grow in your career and for your own personal growth has to come from within. Nobody is going to guide you, nobody is going to encourage you unless and until you have a very great mentor within the government setting. That drive has to come from within. You have to think of new initiatives, you have to approach new people, you have to network yourself. This may not be true in the private sector, wherein certain jobs may require you to get a higher advanced degree, for example an MBA, or they might require you to get certain leadership experience before you can be promoted. In government setting, especially if you are a Group A officer, most of the jobs would have time-bound promotion, and this leaves no incentive to drive your own personal growth. The third point is regarding the myth associated with Sarkari Naukri not having any work pressure. This is absolutely untrue. Sarkari Naukri or government jobs are one of the most demanding jobs out there, especially in today's scenario. People have a lot of expectations. People want to see what the government officers are doing, and that means that the administration will ensure that you're always on your toes. I myself have worked till late at night in office till 9-10 p.m. especially during certain periods like when the budget is announced or when we're working on the economic survey, when there are parliament sessions on, and so on and so forth. Getting a government job is not associated with no work pressure. This is not true. Please get your facts right before you actually think of making a career with the government. Now let's conclude this video by deciding about whether you should apply for a government job or not. Now, I was in a position which many of you might be in right now, where you're confused about your career, you do not know what to do, you don't know whether you would be fit working in the private sector or a government sector, and hence I have always maintained the fact that you should decide your career after getting a lot of exposure, after getting multiple work experiences across different sectors. For example, I decided that I have to work in the government sector and I love being there when I joined the Planning Commission as an intern. I worked in 3 different divisions of the Planning Commission, erstwhile Planning Commission, and hence got different exposure working with the officers there, working in different fields, understanding what the government is all about. And this helped me decide my career path. Similarly, if you are unsure and you do not know which career path you should take, decide after getting some work experience in these sectors. You could apply for internships with the government. You could also apply as a young professional or a consultant working with a specific department in the ministry. These positions and these work experience will give you exposure into what government administration is all about and what you can be expected to do once you join the government. Now, I will finally conclude this video by saying that working with the government should not be decided by the perks and the advantages it offers or even the disadvantages that are associated with this job. It should be decided by your career motivations. Everybody has different motivation and what they want to get out of their career. It could be money, it could be fame, it could be doing some public good, and it could be working for the people. It could be anything. And I'm not here to judge or criticize any of these motivations. But please do understand the fact that a government job might require certain traits which may or may not match with your personality. These traits are patience, resilience, good work ethics, good moral ethics, and above all, a selfless desire to work for the nation, for its people. Please do match these traits with what your career motivations and what your personality traits are, and then decide to work or not work for the government. I hope you found this video to be insightful. Please do let me know if you want me to make more videos regarding the government sector, giving you more insights and any specific topic that you might be interested in. Do comment them in the comment box down below. I will see you the next time. Till then, take care. Bye.